There's no doubt about the fact that Michael Jordan is one of the most talented basketball players of all time. The numbers speak for themselves. The man has 10 scoring titles in his career, not to mention the 6 championships he won. With 5 MVP awards, he's second only to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. In today's video, we'll be looking at every season of his career, so get ready for the points to stack up. Starting off, we've got his rookie campaign. The man may have had a lot of pressure coming into the game, but that didn't stop him from having one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time. He averaged 28.2 PPG and 6.5 RPG, not to mention his insane skill with defense. The people were ready to accept him as the greatest ever, and he got the MVP votes to finish 6th in his rookie season. He led the Bulls into the playoffs that year, which definitely got him ahead in the race as well. From the field, he was shooting 51.5% and an insane 84.5% from the free throw line. All that for his first season was enough to convince everyone that he was going to be big. Next up, his 1985-86 season wasn't the best. It was only a year after the Bulls had made the playoffs with the future greatest player of all time, and suddenly they lost him. Michael broke his foot and went off the court for a while, playing in only 18 games and starting only 7 that year. The Bulls still managed to make the playoffs somehow, but their shooting guard didn't have a shot at MVP that year. But let's not forget that he had one of his greatest performances in the postseason, playing against Larry Bird and the Celtics. To sum it all up, he was described as God disguised as Michael Jordan. Let's move on to the 1986-87 season when things started to pick up. This season was undoubtedly where the Jordan reign started, and he more than made up for the previous season that year. He averaged 37.1 PPG that year, officially winning his first ever scoring title and pulling another 2 60-point games in the year. Sadly, the Bulls lost to the Celtics that year in the playoffs, but that didn't matter much to Jordan. He finished second in the MVP race, and it was only Magic Johnson that managed to beat him that year. He lost by a fair bit with 449 points to Johnson's 733. And now things started peaking around 87-88. The 1987-1988 season might have been the greatest ever of Jordan's career because he was pretty much winning everything. From the MVP award to Defensive Player of the Year, scoring title, and the dunk contest trophy. He did most of the work on defense, shutting down opposing guards and blocking shots. At the same time, he was scoring like crazy on offense too. His first MVP award came after he posted 35.0 PPG, 5.5 RPG, 5.9 APG, 3.2 SPG, and 1.6 BPG. All in all, it was probably the best season ever from a perimeter player, and he beat out Larry Bird and Magic Johnson for the crown. Next, let's move to 1988-89, still going strong. Michael might not have achieved his absolute peak as a player until the 1990s, but he was on an upward track there, what with his 30-point average in the decade before. The head coach Doug Collins made the best decision ever when he started Michael at point guard, bumping up his assist numbers even more. He still didn't win the MVP award, finishing second to Magic Johnson again. He did great against the Cavaliers in the playoffs, but couldn't beat the Pistons in the finals. Coming up, we've got the 1989-90 season. Things were still moving upwards steadily at this time, and the Bulls star had some great backing that year as well. Phil Jackson was the head coach, and Scottie Pippen was the best sidekick he could have had. It's no wonder Jordan posted 33.6 PPG and 6.9 RPG that year, and finished third in the MVP race behind Johnson and Charles Barkley. Next, we're talking about the insane 1990-91 season. The 90s had started, which also brought about the reign of Michael Jordan as the best player on the court. He won his first championship, was on top of the league with points, and had convinced basically everybody that he was one of the best around. Scottie Pippen was performing great alongside him too, and when Jordan beat the Detroit Pistons and got to the finals, the deal was sealed. Plus, he kept it going in 1991-92. The player showed zero signs of slowing down at all that year, winning his second NBA title and his 6th scoring crown in a row, making it one of the best seasons of his career. He had tons of these, with another 30 40-point average, he made 51.9% of his field goal attempts and over 83% of his free throw shots. The season also had the shrug when he scored 35 points and 6 three-pointers in the first half alone against the rival Clyde Drexler. It's true, there's never been another player like him. Moving to 1992 to 93, he wouldn't slow down. The Bulls were doing pretty amazing, defeating Charles Barkley and the Suns in the NBA Finals that year. That also brought Jordan his 7th scoring title in a row, averaging 32.6 points per game or just 49.5% of his shots. He was literally a perfect player, and there was really nobody else who could be compared to this guy. The season was flawless, and he was ahead of his time with literally everything he was doing. Next, in 93 to 94, we didn't see anything at all. Sadly, there aren't any crazy statistics to report from this season, mostly because nothing actually happened. It was the season he retired from the NBA for the first time, and to this day, nobody really knows why exactly he did it. But a pretty solid guess is that he'd won 3 championships and lost his dad all in the span of a year, which is a good reason to take a break for a bit. But fans still know that if he had played that year, he would have easily won another championship. Now we're looking at the 94 to 95 season. This season doesn't really count most of the time since he only played 17 games coming out of his first retirement. The Bulls were able to keep things going just enough so that Michael could come back for the playoffs. Posting 31.5 PPG for 10 games, the regular season wasn't great though, with 26.9 PPG in 17 games. But he did earn some MVP votes either way, mostly because people were happy to see him back after so long. After all, who wouldn't miss seeing the GOAT play? Still, he only got an 11th place finish, but he came back with a promise to make it to the top again. Next, in 1995 to 96, he was back on top. Scoring title 8 came quickly for the legend, since he led the Bulls to the best record in the NBA, not to mention the second highest winning record in the league's history. It was his 4th NBA title and 4th Finals MVP with a crazy 30.4 PPG. The Bulls also finished that season with an insane 72 wins. Moving to 1996 to 97, he kept the record going. Michael Jordan was on a roll for most of the 90s, winning his 9th scoring title that season. He had already established he was the best, but he confirmed it when he won his 2nd championship and scoring title. He was shooting over 48% from the field, 37% from 3, and over 80% from the charity stripe. Then in 1997 to 98, things looked up again. It's not like anything had gone downhill for the man, but he went even higher up this season, winning his 10th scoring championship along with the MVP title that year. But it has to be mentioned that this was his dominance slipping, seeing how he shot under 48% and fell under 80% for the 2nd time in his career. This was his final scoring championship and his final NBA championship, so things were coming to an end. With the 2000s, Jordan's best was over the last 2 seasons of Michael's career aren't even counted with the rest of them, since he fell off almost instantly after those final championships. After his 2nd retirement ended, he wasn't the same. And we have to remember at this point he was 38 and had gone for 3 years. He still got MVP points, but those were just out of respect, and he finished 13th. Finally, he ended his career quietly. The Washington Wizards were able to get their retirement run that season, with the 39-year-old shooting guard making his 14 All-Star team and posting 20 PPG and 6.1 RPG along with 1.5 SPG on 44.5% shooting from the field. He had battles with the next big thing, Kobe Bryant, which will always be iconic in baseball. But naturally, he got 0 MVP points and didn't finish anywhere. But at the end of the day, it didn't really matter since he was already the best. Well, that's a wrap for this video. So what was your favorite season? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. We'll see you in the next one.